All right, guys, welcome back. Another week of recording Channel 42, guys. Welcome back, Phil, Tor. Good to see you guys again. It's been an exciting week. I know for me, I've been spending a lot of time attending the Cisco Live conference, which was happening at least in North America on Tuesday and Wednesday. But there's a lot of announcements, a lot of excitement, a lot of different activities you could participate in. So I'm really curious to hear your guys' thoughts on what you thought of Cisco Live this year. So Phil, why don't we jump right into you and hear your thoughts? What do you think of Cisco Live this year?
I actually love the format. I love the options of doing different time zones because it was, if I remember correctly, it was done in US time zone, EMEA time zone, and Asia Pac time zone. So I actually was sitting on a class this week learning some new stuff, and I managed to attend all the sessions I wanted to as well. Some of them were late at night and some were very early in the morning. I think I got up at 3 o'clock at one point, which was a very early morning, but I still managed to attend all the sessions. And I really enjoyed it. I loved it.
Yeah, cool. How about you, Tor? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that having us doing it virtual with the given time we have here, I think it was pretty successful. And I agree with Phil. It's pretty convenient that we have different time zones. We can attend normal work, and then we can jump in to have a session, as you said, Phil, in the middle of the night and early morning, things like that. So I think that was pretty convenient.
So did you just sign up for one specific session and follow that, or you just pick the sessions that gave you the most flexibility? Kind of doing two jobs during the day, your daytime job and then your Cisco Live job?
I had to go into the time slot I had available and then pick something I found interesting. And the reality of life, you can't always get what you really want 100%. So I just had to kind of go into some of the compromises and actually look into some new stuff. I'm been working with 5G for some time, and it's good to get to know the technology behind that also, or the bits and balls there. So that gave me the opportunity to look into that, for instance. Yeah.
It did seem like there was a lot more emphasis on 5G every year for the past few years. It seems they keep adding more and more sessions on 5G. Was there anyone that particularly caught your eye, or that you'd recommend to anybody in working in the 5G space, or wanting to learn more about it?
Yeah, the level I have as of now, I wouldn't pick one specifically, and I'm just trying to catch up on the 5G. I have in my earlier life, I was working with radio technology, radar systems and things like that. And it's kind of nice to dig into different modulation schemes than we see in 8211. And as you also kind of imply, 5G would be more widespread, and when we're talking about wireless, we have to remember it's not only Wi-Fi. So I think that's a good thing, and we as wireless engineers need to get as much knowledge as we can on 5G also.
I'd like to add something to that, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Phil.
I've been doing a bit of work with SD-WAN stuff recently, and the SD-WAN paradigm is a major shift. Instead of companies buying an MPLS link and like a frame relay link, and sorry if I'm being old mentioning frame relay, instead of buying proprietary links like the frame relay as a backup for MPLS or two MPLS links, what's happening more and more in our industry today is people are just buying internet links. They're buying a link to the internet and using SD-WAN technology to optimize traffic between sites. Well, it always used to be that 4G was the emergency backup that you never wanted to kick in unless it had to, because it was so expensive, because you had a 4G line or a 4G modem. But once you start sending those bytes across, it mounts up very quickly, and it was a last resort backup use. Well, 5G is promising to make 5G a network alternative, not a last resort backup. So with the SD-WAN world we have today, 5G is becoming more interesting. And we've got public and private 5G, of course, now. And the 5G is really offering to become a real solution for linking sites between companies. It's still in its infancy yet. I still don't think it's going to do away with Wi-Fi for loads of reasons. But 5G is changing from what we're used to in the LTE and the 4G world of having like a modem connecting our buildings, break glass in case of emergency. 5G is becoming having a real use case in our world today, is what I'm finding. And I saw a lot of that at Cisco Live, where Cisco is talking about networking over 5G, as if it's networking over Ethernet. It's the same concept.
Totally agree with you there. We see it especially in outdoor environment.
Yes.
We still use LTE. We will be using 5G, and it's in some cases it's actually superior compared with what we can do with Wi-Fi. We don't need to use that many access points as to cover a specific area, and we have to remember that some of the nice, fantastic things in modulation is actually something that is adapted in Wi-Fi 6, which makes it better for us as Wi-Fi engineers also. Yeah.
And I'm going to worry about someone turning a microwave oven on, Tor, right?
Exactly.
It's a much cleaner airspace up
It
in
is.
5G.
It is, yeah. And because it's licensed, it's more controlled. So at least when it's licensed, it's a more controlled solution, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, the license space is definitely a different environment to operate in. Has different rules, different considerations.
Yeah.
Phil, just going back to the Cisco Live Summit sessions, you mentioned that you were bounced around between different time zones, catching a bunch of sessions. What sessions caught your eye?
So I spent most of my time doing Wi-Fi 6 and 5G. And I also attended a lot of as many security ones as I could, because the good thing about 5G is you can have sites spread all over the place that are easily connectable. And the main problem with this new kind of paradigm is you've got sites all over the place that are easily breakable into. So how do we secure these sites? And I saw an awful lot of SASE, which still makes me laugh that they call it SASE, because I thought it was called SACE, right? But apparently not. But
sorry, that's it's SASE is the SASE.
Yeah. And a lot of SASE about a SASE front end, a SASE back end, and really what I saw Cisco doing was giving easy security to people without them even knowing they have it, possibly. For example, Umbrella. Right? Umbrella is just this great thing where somewhere in the region of, I think I may get the numbers wrong, but 80% of attacks on companies are done through the redirection of a DNS or a multi-fast changing DNS entry. Well, if you limit what DNS systems you go to and you filter DNS to only safe sites, you make yourself incredibly safe for probably the least amount of money you've ever spent on any security thing ever, by just having DNS redirection to a safe place where somebody else takes care of it for you. And the idea is, of course, there's always a possibility that something may happen, but most of the time, the DNS problems are resolved almost immediately. So having safe DNS is such a simple concept, and it's so reasonably priced that I'm surprised that we haven't all done it before or something. And it was OpenDNS, I think, if I remember it all right. OpenDNS was the product, and Cisco have now they bought OpenDNS and they've renamed it Umbrella, and it does an awful lot more. It looks out for malware redirects, because basically when you do a phishing attack or any kind of attack against a company, to arm and load and fire the payload wants to go and look for a DNS entry that is probably changing rapidly based on hackers don't just set up like badhacker.com or something. So a lot of it is DNS related, and the open DNS umbrella function can just kill that dead instantly, which I thought was very interesting. And a lot more come in from Cisco AMP as well of the umbrella. And Cisco is kind of making it so, look, you just redirect to this cloud entry and we'll keep you safe, which sounds too good to be true, but it's really what most people need, because trying to configure ICE from scratch, from the bottom up, needs an experienced engineer to click all the checkboxes. So anything that we can do as a service where you redirect to us and we'll keep you safe and then help you configure your end to fit with us, I think that's just a genius move. And I also saw stuff come out from, I think it was Aruba, Hewlett Packard, and other partners today about SASE this, SASE that. So everybody is jumping on the bandwagon of the SASE concept.
Yeah, if you can knock off a lot of the low-hanging fruit with a very low-cost solution, and that gets you a lot of resiliency, that's definitely a good approach to take. So speaking of things like ICE and stuff like that, obviously it's good to get hands-on experience with those kind of products. As part of your Cisco Live experience, did you guys attend any of the labs or hands-on exercises that were offered through Cisco Live?
I've scheduled one for the 12th of April, where I do a kind of a hacking session or attack session on network, and then switch to how to defend against these kind of threats or attacks. And we don't have that much time, but it actually gives you a good introduction or entry into doing this. And being a security guy, I like attending these kind of sessions. I feel he's doing classes, so we could attend the classes that Phil are doing, but this is actually good.
It's funny you should say that, Tor, because something you said is, it's good to understand what's going on. And the one thing that I find in any of these classes that teach you any kind of capture the flag or penetration testing is you sit there and you think, oh my gosh, it's that easy.
Exactly.
And you realize that how easy it is that you can have a firewall and some kind of intrusion protection system. But if you haven't blocked this particular port, then basically you got a castle with a front door with a moat, but there's like, a back door with an open door easily available. And that's what I think, bringing awareness up with people about how sometimes totally paranoid you have to be to keep safe, and how easy it is that once you see an opening, how easy it is to exploit that opening, is what a lot of these hacking and pen testing labs can do. And actually, you guys made me aware there's a lot of capture the flag. Do you want to talk about that? Because you were saying about it earlier, Troy and Tor, the capture the flag events that are going on.
Yeah, that's one of the, I'm not sure if they've done it before, but that's one of the things that caught my attention this year was a bunch of capture the flag events that they're running kind of in parallel with Cisco Live. And so they have about, about 6 different categories that they break down. So you can sign up and register for each category individually, but they have one focused on enterprise networking, one on security, which I think would be very interesting. I'm hoping it's very maybe red team, blue team type focused. There's one specific to data center cloud networking, one that's Meraki specific. So that's actually the one that I signed up for, and I've been doing some of
that one. Yeah,
the preliminary work for it. There's one on DevNet, so some more programming focused, and then one on collaboration. And so right now it's just kind of in preliminary mode. So it's been open for a while, and it's more just to get people signed up, registered with the system, kind of understand the interface and how the different challenges will kind of play out. But it goes live starting April 5th, right? And so we'll include links to this, and we'll tweet about it via our Twitter handle, the Channel42 guys. So you have links to register for this. But I think that's pretty exciting. So we open from the April 5th to April 15th as a challenge. in those 6 different disciplines. But that was kind of neat. And so I thought Cisco did a really good job of kind of expanding all the different things that you could do. So not only could you just attend sessions and see some of the keynotes, participate in a lot of the DevNet labs, but there was the Capture the Flag competition and a bunch of other social activities and challenges going on throughout the two-day conference.
I just want to mention as well that you said that run in parallel with, but they're still doing this, right? They're doing this until the 15th of April. So don't think, oh, I missed Cisco Live, I missed it. I think you mentioned just then, Troy, that they start in for real on the 5th. They're running for like
Correct.
10 days or something. So
Yes.
you haven't missed it. What is the link? Do we have it? We can mention it. I will try and see.
So it's Cisco Live 2021.letsPlayCTF.io.
Yeah. Cisco Live 2021.letsPlayCTF, all one word, .io. And we will actually put that in. It should appear about now.
In the lower third, yeah.
Our editing team are so good at this. Every time we do this, it appears. So yeah, definitely take a look at this and let us know what you think, everybody.
Yeah, and I'm curious to hear your feedback. So they do, when you sign up and register, they say, hey, just like Fight Club, like no one talks about it. So they don't want you to share any techniques and tricks that you've used to conquer any of the challenges until the contest is over. So it's kind of honor system based like that. I suppose you could get together as a team and kind of work behind the scenes as a team, but one person as an individual would be registered for that. So it'd be interesting to see what the challenges are. And they drop you hints while you go through the challenges, but every time you get a hint, it reduces a few points from your score. So be kind of curious to see how that plays out. Interesting. I
don't see any prizes or anything, Troy, but they actually say a gamified hands-on learning experience. So it's kind of like a game, right? Like Capture the Flag type game. So I think it's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've earned points already from some of the preliminary challenges, but it's more just to get used to the system, answer a few questions about how things were configured and stuff like that. But once it goes live, I think it'll be really interesting, the types of questions that we can see. Other things that are happening in Cisco Live, were there any announcements or products or features that stood out to you guys or caught anyone's eye?
I heard about a new access point, and I think Sam tweeted about it yesterday, the 9124. It's an outdoor Wi-Fi 6 access point, which I thought was very interesting because 802.11ax and the functionality, outdoor rules tend to be very, very specific in a lot of areas. And I think they said that it's available in the US now, but worldwide it may be delayed based on multiple things. But
I'm looking forward to get more of these outdoor APs supporting AX. So that would be good.
Yeah, it's available US and Canada. So most of North America, it's available. They're expecting to hit the global market later. They also have 3 different versions of the hardware. Right? So there's one with there's omnidirectional internal antennas, one with internal directional antennas, and then one with external antennas. So there's an I, a D, and an E. So India, Delta, Echo. The Delta one, the internal directional antennas, that's supposed to come the second half of this year to be before that one's available.
Yeah. But I think that's interesting. That's interesting having that available. Tor, can you find applications for that?
Certainly, especially the E one with the option for external antennas in outdoor big industrial areas. That's rather convenient. I'm looking forward to play with that.
I didn't actually hear about anything else coming out except Cisco Plus was announced. Did you hear about anything else, Troy? At all?
Nothing really that caught my eye per se in terms of product announcements.
No. Yeah.
I thought of a lot of the keynote presentations were. I found this to be filled with a lot of kind of the marketing buzzwords. So a lot of the delightful new features and products, a lot of emphasis on democratizing IT and being inclusive. I even heard a comment that they made a product that made things 10 times better.
Yeah. I survived, I think it was 3/4 through Cisco Live, and then somebody did mention the single pane of glass view. And I was like, oh, there we go. We got there. Yeah. Because you have to have a single pane of glass somewhere, right? It's very important. Yeah. But
I heard that in several keynotes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The one keynote I really enjoyed was Alyssa Camplin. So they brought her on to do a keynote. And for those of you who don't know out in the audience there, she was an aerial skier from Australia. And she won gold medal in the 2002 Winter Games. One of only 2 gold medals that Australia has ever won, I believe, in the Winter Olympics. And so she works for IBM, but her presentation was, I thought, really inspiring. So she talked a lot about the challenges that she faced to become, a skier and compete at Olympic level in a winter sport, which, for obvious reasons, fairly challenging for the Australia type environment. But also a lot of her presentation focused on setting goals and strategies to meet those goals. And so she provided a framework and a mechanism that you could access through her website, but it was breaking down a goal into a bunch of little small segments, small little pieces, and then finding targets to allow you to hit those individual pieces. And so as you keep knocking those off, you get closer and closer to your goal, but breaking into smaller bite-sized pieces allows what seems like almost an impossible goal. It makes it seem achievable, and you get that reward of constant progress, which I think us as technical people, we can take that away, that if we have a complicated project or a learning challenge that we wanted to pursue, break it into those smaller pieces and just keep eating or biting away at that as you work towards your goal and making little progress every day. I thought that was really good that she had a very clear process to make that happen.
I think that's very important, because you don't look at becoming a CCIE or a CWNE or an expert. You don't look at the mountain you have to climb. You just got to start walking up the hill, right? And I think that is amazing, because that's part of the thing we have to do when you teach people how to become a CCIE is you keep your focus on the peak, but you also look at the ground below you and take one step at a time, and you have a plan to get to base camp, then you get to phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and you have to break it down. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, but you don't look at the elephant as a whole. You plan. I probably should get off the elephant eating analogy now, though, but you plan it step by step, one bite at a time. Right? I think that's
hopefully
awesome.
you enjoy the journey on the way. That'll be really good.
And I think that's very important. So I suppose if you talk to her, the journey on how to become an Olympic gold winner, she didn't decide, I'm gonna enter the Olympics this year and see how I can do, and I got gold. That rarely happens. There was a plan, there was a strategy, and there was practice, right?
Yeah, definitely. So there are 2 quotes that I just made a note of while I was watching her presentation, which kind of relate to what we were just talking about here. So one was she made a comment about a vision without a plan is just a wish, right? To meet your goal, you need both. Yeah. Right. So you can't just say, hey, I want to devour this big feast. You need a plan of how you're going to go through that big feasting process, as well as a comment about passion. And she tried a bunch of different sports, and you can fake a lot of passion. Right. You can tell yourself that you're enjoying it, but in your heart of hearts, if you're not truly passionate about it, it won't sustain you. Yeah. Right. So if you want to compete and succeed at the highest level, so at the Olympic level, for example, or, the most technical discipline you can think of at its top levels of engineering and innovation, you need the true passion that fuels and keeps you going from day to day. And by setting aligning that passion with the step-by-step plans of how you can achieve that goal, that's what sets you up for success. So I thought that was a really great keynote for us.
Excuse me. I actually like listen to Elon Musk sometimes, some of the things he talks about. And, he said, when are you going to go to Mars, Elon? He's like, eventually, but let's get the rocket working first. Let's get the rocket to take off and land first. Then we'll fix the next problem. And I think he has a great attitude, and the people that work for him have a great attitude. Because they launched a rocket from a remote control drone ship in the Atlantic or the Pacific somewhere, and the rocket went up and it came back down and landed on the ship. And if you think about the lines of code and the time and the failures they had, it reminds me of a great saying, I believe, by Edison. So, he said he invented the light bulb on his 10,000th attempt. And they said, do you think that's a waste of time? And he was like, well, no, I know 9,999 ways not to make a light bulb. And that's the attitude you have to have, right, in this situation. If you want to be an Olympic gold medal winner or a true expert in your chosen industry.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So we're getting close to the end of time here for the podcast. We'll just do a quick roundup here just on any last thoughts that anyone has about Cisco Live. We'll start with you, Phil. If you just want to give us just any final comments on your thoughts about Cisco Live this year.
Well, I thought it was unique because they brought together a lot of people. There was a lot of diversity I saw. There was one point where there was an English girl speaking, introducing the coming segment. Then there was an Australian gentleman. Then there was a lady from, I think she was from Japan or somewhere. And so they brought in a lot of different introducers to the same recordings that was being played. But the way they tuned it for the audience, and they managed to get one Cisco Live covering the whole world, basically. It was a global event, which I think we may see more of, fine-tuned for the local audience as well. I just thought that was clever the way they brought it together. And it was pretty seamless. I actually thought it was a nice touch. I watched Train. Train were like, basically there was I'm sat here watching Train and I'm not paying attention to the music. I'm paying attention that it's a guy sitting in his living room that looks like my living room. The guy's like a superstar and, he's got a sofa and, that's a pretty picture behind him. And I just realized that when you see megastars and superstars at home, surely it's probably a bigger, more expensive house than I live in, but it's the same stuff. We're all just people and we're all working from home trying to make the world a better place, I thought. And I really enjoyed seeing the little snippets of the bands, Pentatonics, BB. I didn't know who BB was until I heard the song. I went, I recognize the song now, of course. And I just thought it was great that they interspersed. And there's only like 10, 20, 30 minutes here and there. And instead of having like the band that they have at Cisco Live on the final night, instead of having several bands turn up, they had like little snippets of music. And I thought it was very well done and interspersed. And also the fact that there's more technical stuff still happening after Cisco Live. I thought that was a good way of doing things.
Mm-hmm. Cool. How about you, Tor? What about any takeaway thoughts?
Yeah, one of the things that I've seen is that even though we have been forced to participate on a virtual event, the format is actually well laid out. I think it's something we will benefit from going forward. So we'll probably have more virtual events where we have the option to, as I said, I can choose my time when I go in, because we have a global event that spans several time zones. I can go in and pick the sessions that I like and have the time to attend on outside my normal working hours. The fact that we have the hands-on labs capture the flag after Cisco Live session. If I compare it with the live event or the in-person event, I will be pretty focused on the lab session I have here, whereas on the live event, it's busy. I'm not saying that I would not go for the live event. I would actually prefer that. But it is a busy week where we kind of get exhausted, because we are stretching it out on the virtual event, we kind of can focus better on the particular lab event that I'm looking forward to. So I've seen this session or this event as that one of many ways to do it, and I do hope that we will have these virtual events combined with in-person events, because I would not, I would be unhappy if we didn't get any physical events or in-person events in the future. So that's my take on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think live is my preference as well. I look forward to getting back to the live conferences. But one of the things that I have really found about Cisco Live is that the conference itself has grown so huge, and there's so many different pieces and components of it going all on in parallel. Like, you could spend the entire conference in the world of solutions, for example, or you could spend it in the DevNet labs, or now that they've added the capture the flag, like you could sync your whole conference in there. And by giving you the option now, and hopefully they keep this going down the road as well, having the ability to engage in some of those activities and challenges once the conference ends, but is still part of the whole conference experience. I think that adds a lot more value to it, and it extends the atmosphere of the conference more than just the 2 days that we just had, or maybe the whole week that we've seen in the past for the Cisco Live conference. So I think I'm hoping down the road that they maintain the hybrid of live and virtual and running those all together.
I wanted to get my Cisco Live hat in.
Perfect. Yes.
Troy,
So
what do you think about Cisco Live? Tell us your thoughts as well, please.
Yeah, so I thought it was interesting that they had a bunch of the keynote sessions. Some of them I thought there was just a lot of marketing, right? So I didn't find a lot of value to it. A lot of buzzwords, marketing type buzzwords repeated over and over and over. Whereas more of the technical content and the capture the flag things, the challenges that I mentioned that are opening up on April 5th, that's more of the excitements and the values that I'm seeing it as a takeaway of. I'm also I'm still trying to wrap my head around the value of the fee for the conference. So there was an Explorer only pass, which was no cost, as well as an all access pass that you could argue it was a nominal fee, a relatively small fee compared to what a traditional full conference fee would be. But I'm just still trying to wrap my head around if there was the value that I got out of paying that fee versus just the Explorer pass.
There were 6 streams. If you paid,
yes,
you got all 6. If you didn't pay, you just got the left-hand 2, I believe. So there was a lot of sessions I attended that I wouldn't have gotten if I didn't get the more expensive pass. So, but I know what you're saying. There was a lot of marketing, and there's always going to be. When you go to a vendor's conference, they're always going to tell you how good they're doing. That's expected, right? Mm-hmm. But I wonder if maybe the idea of doing like yourself, I'm more interested in the technical details. I don't want to know about the new feature on the Catalyst Nexus 9000. I want you to do the talk through of how the packet goes through the Catalyst 9000 with all the different ASICs and caches and things. And that's what I want to see. But that's not for everybody. So I wonder, because we're more technical, maybe this next 10 days might be more exciting for us, because it's where we can choose our technical details and be more specific about the things we want to see about. Because I think a lot of the talks that I attended were, like you said, was like a marketing type aimed at a management team of why you had the slides on why you should choose this option over other options or as a vendor. And yes, I did see that. And there wasn't that much technical meat in a lot of the ones I attended. But I'm hoping that, like the capture the flag and the other things coming out now will give me that requirement, I suppose is the right word. Yeah. Maybe. We'll see.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's wrap it up here. Thanks for joining us for a chat this week. And so again, this has been a video podcast from the Channel 42 guys. Everyone take care and enjoy the rest of your day. I'm Troy Martin. You can find me on Twitter at TroyMart, the handle TroyMart, and our co-host Phil Morgan. How can people reach out and get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter at CCIE5224. It's me.
All right. And Cool. Thanks, Phil. And Tor Olsen, how can people get a hold of you?
They can get hold of me at Twitter at the handle at 2RN1. So it's 2 Romeo November and the number 1.
Awesome. Awesome. All right.
Thanks,
Thanks
guys.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you next time.
See you.
You guys.